Hey, guess who? It's small bimbo boy. Originally, I was gonna start this off by being all dramatic and stuff and being like, oh, fan fiction. And, giving a little overview of what fan fiction is. But let's be honest. I think at this point, everybody knows what fan fiction is. Like, it's literally in the name. Fan fiction. Though, I do owe you guys a little bit of backstory before we get into this. It's 2020. I just started high school. And if everyone knows what happens during 2020, yeah. So my freshman high school life was fun because we were on Zoom for my first year of high school. So that was fun. During that time, it was pretty dry. You just log on, do your work, and then you log off, and that's literally it. Luckily for me and my friends had lunch together. It was me and my two best friends. And what we would do is that during our lunch period, we would make our own separate Zoom meeting, finish school, and then after school's over, we would hang out on our own Zoom meeting and just talk and hang out. During those Zoom meetings, I would draw pictures of me and my friends together, but we would be in like different universes. So there would be us as Powerpuff Girls, there would be us as like the Mario princesses, etc., etc. One of the drawings that I did was me and my friends if we were in the Alvin and the Chipmunk world. I don't have this drawing today because it's on my old phone and IBS Paint does not save your drawings, so it's completely lost to time. Or maybe, I don't know. But I remember while I was making it, one of my friends said, "You should make this into a story." And that's how this thing came to be. Now, this fanfiction is not your average fanfiction. It's not like Brittany x Alvin. It's not, Theodore x Eleanor. It's not even something different like Brittany x Theodore or Alvin x Jeanette. It's not anything like that. This is a self-ship Alvin and the Chipmunks fanfiction. This is a self-ship Alvin and Chipmunks fanfiction. The pairings in this is my friend X Alvin, my other friend X Simon, and me with Brittany. This is the fan fiction I wrote. We're here to have fun, we're here to laugh, and we're here to make fun of little old me. So I hope you enjoy. And literally, I think like almost all of you said yes. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, why? Why? You guys, you can say no. Like, that's an option. You can say no. I promise you, I pinky swear, I would not get mad if you said no. Alvin and the Chipmunks, Trouble with the Rodents. I hate this already. Chapter 1. Alvin zooms down the staircase rail, zipping and gliding down the halls. Numerous haze and what's up follows him as he skateboards past his fellow classmates. He passes a group of girls, and one wink sends him in a fit of giggles. Soon, he makes it to Algebra 1 and walks through the door. "Glad you could make it, Mr. Seville," says Mrs. Garden, his algebra teacher. The old hag has never taken a liking to Alvin and his brothers, and only tolerates Simon, so naturally, he takes it to make her life a living hell. He scoffs and says nothing to the witch and makes his way to his desk next to Simon. "You're late," Simon growls while taking notes in his notebook. "Again," Brittany adds in, checking her phone rather than paying attention. You can tell that I was like fresh into high school. Algebra 1, God. 1, first of all, I hate that this is like decent, I guess, is the word. I don't know about well, but like what I mean is I hate that there's effort. I hate that there's so much effort into it. It has 15 chapters. I hate that I put so much effort into this. When they first started school, it was painfully hard to do simple tasks like write and carry books, but after having done it for so long, it almost second nature to carry the entire weight of a pencil on their shoulder and ride their math books down the stairs. "Don't get your tail in a twist, I was only a second late." "It's 8:35, Simon says. "So?" Alvin asks. "Class started at 8, Simon quips. "How long does class go on? If it starts at 8 and it's 8:35, we should probably be in our next class by now." Classes really isn't that long.
Alvin rolls his eyes. He knows good and well how Mrs. Garden feels about the chipmunks going to school. In fact, he knows how lots of people feel about them going to school. He can't remember the last time he didn't see some stupid troll on the internet say, "Animals belong in the wild, not our schools." They didn't want him here, so why should he give them any ounce of his respect? But let's not get into the depressing topics of speciesism. What am I reading? I can't do this.
I thought way too hard about this. Really? Animal? Are you serious? Speciesism? This is Alvin and the Chipmunks. Why did I try to make this, like, realistic? Cause, like, yeah, I guess in real life, technically, if, like, a talking animal, realistically, if a talking animal was reported singing and going to school, they would be snatched up and experimented on. But yeah, I guess there would be speciesism, but like, why? This is Alvin and Chipmunks. It's not that serious. Why did I put this in here? You could just tell I was trying to be so deep. Like, I was trying to be deep and like, oh wow, this is so realistic. Like, no, bestie, I'm a full body shudder.
Suddenly, the door flies open. Alvin turns towards the door and his eyes widens, and he gasps dramatically along with his brothers in the chipette. Standing at the door, proudly, in flashy clothes he would only wear for performances, are 3 chipmunks. The chipmunk on the right was about Alvin's height. She wears a white crop top with lace see-through sleeves. She has long exaggerated white boots on with equally as long heels attached to said boots, and white booty-cut shorts go past where her belly button would be. Her fur is brown with dark brown streaks cupping her face, and the same brown streak on her tail, and the extra fur that would go down her back is pulled up in 2 big puffballs that complement her cute face. The chipmunk on the left is small, probably smaller than Theodore.
All the jabs at the chipmunk being small, that's literally so me. Not me as in like I'm small, but me as in like, this is me making fun of my friend, cause she's short.
She wears something more modest than the one on the right. She has a long sleeve black shirt on, exaggerated sleeves of course, and long black pants cuffed at the end and small black boots. Her fur is a light brown with normal brown streaks cupping her face like the other chipmunk, and the same streak with her tail.
Of course, this is so, like, YN, like, this is so main character, and not in the good way. Like, of course, like, the new kids come in, and they got all these flashy clothes, and they're like, oh, they're so rich, they're so expensive. And they come in looking like they, like, dripping in gold. Like, this is so coded, like, of course the new kid is, like, dressed in all these things, and they look all pretty and gorgeous and stuff. They would get dress coded so fast, especially my character. Look at what she's wearing. And it's not like what she's wearing is bad either. Like, it's really not that bad. Like, this is probably something I would wear outside, for real. But this is like a public high school. My school my school wouldn't care. But that's because I go to an art school. And like, unless you're walking around like literally in your underwear, you're not gonna get dress coded. Like, my school's pretty lenient because, like, you know, it's an art school, you're supposed to express yourself. This is a public high school, and y'all know how public high schools be. They dress code you for the simplest things. Your shoulders could be shouldering, and you get dress coded. So for her to walk in, she would get dress coded so fast.
The last chipmunk. That's a squirrel. What? Alvin yells. Taking a closer look at the creature in the middle. Simon was right. In the middle of the 2 chipmunks was a tall, snobby-looking squirrel, and with closer examination, Alvin can see 2 pieces of skin connecting from one arm to another. A squirrel. A flying squirrel. That means that more than one type of animal can talk and understand just like humans do. Does that mean that animals are evolving? Soon will dogs be able to? Wait, why is he thinking about this nerd stuff? He's a cool one. Simon's a smart one. Now where was he? Oh yeah.
I'm not too mad that Alvin's acting like this. Because, like, you know, they're like other chipmunks. And one's even a squirrel. So I can see why he would be so interested.
In the middle of the 2 chipmunks was a tall, flying squirrel. His clothes aren't modest, but not as revealing as the first chipmunk's. He wears a sleeveless gray shirt with some weird strap that connects the shirt to his gray shorts. Alvin pauses to take a moment to wonder where the zipper is. The squirrel has long gray boots on, but not as long as the first chipmunk's is, and big chunky gold bracelets, 3 on each wrist. He has dark chocolate fur with light streaks in his face instead of dark, and they each have a matching collar on their neck and a gold tag hanging off of it. Their eyes scan the room with one look of boredom, one with slight excitement, and one with snobbish disgust. "Ah, you three. Your desks are in the back," Mrs. Garden says with a slight hint of disgust at them. The squirrel looks like he has some witty quip hanging off his tongue at the obvious display of hate, but one pleading look at the really small chipmunk made him bite his tongue. "Wait!" Alvin hears himself shout. All eyes turn to him as he realizes he didn't mean to say anything. His voice quivers as Simon raises an eyebrow at him and Brittany looks at him waiting for him to speak. "Aren't you going to introduce the new students?" Mrs. Garden raises an eyebrow at him and flips through the math book on her desk. "And why would I do that?" she says, her old voice stinging Alvin's ears. God, even her voice is annoying. "To give our new students a warm West Eastman High welcome," Alvin said quickly. He wanted to know more about these chipmunks and especially that squirrel. Can you blame him? His knowledge about anthropomorphic animals is limited. Seeing as he thought only his brothers and the chipettes, or just only chipmunks in general, could possess human mind and speech, he wants to know how this squirrel could do it too, and if any more animals could do it. Where was I going with this? Actually, I know where I was going with this, but I'm not telling you. "You can introduce yourself at lunch or in your own free time. Now, Alvin and you three, sit down." Alvin groans and mumbles a string of curses under his breath as he watches the new and interesting students walk by his desk. Him and the squirrel make eye contact. They lock eyes for what seemed like minutes before the chipmunk wearing white interrupts it to talk about something. You can see right off the bat that I have, it's obvious how the ships are set up. It's completely obvious. The way they make eye contact, the interest in, a specific character. It's obvious. It's not subtle at all. Slow burn, we don't know who she is. I don't know her. Who is she? "That squirrel is so cool. I mean, not as cool as him, but still cool nonetheless. They look so rich if that's what they're wearing to school. Are they siblings like me and my brothers? I wonder where humans found them and gave them a home. I wonder if they're a nag like Dad," Alvin thinks to himself as he watches the three students climb their desk and get comfortable. He wonders if they sing and dance too, and if they play sports and hate math like him. He wonders if they like to play pranks and drive their dad crazy like him and his brothers do. He wants to make friends with them so badly. He really needs some new friends to talk to and impress with how cool he is. But most importantly, Alvin's eyes unsubconsciously drift over to the dark chocolate squirrel whispering to the small chipmunk and giggling with the chipmunk in white. Most importantly, Alvin wants to impress that squirrel. Chapter 2. Simon sighs, stressed, as he just now realizes that he didn't take any class-related notes during the rest of class. You know, if Alvin is thinking about the possibility of more than one type of animal possessing human speech and mind, then so is Simon, and he's taking it to a whole other level. His math notebook that was once previously filled with the box method and fractions was now filled with drawings of the average chipmunk and squirrel body and theories on why they came to understand English. Simon has always theorized about the coming of the chipmunks and chipettes, and has come up with nothing obviously, since research and hypotheses need to be explored, and the only way Simon could possibly get his answers is by Simon's least favorite science activity: dissection.
Bro, why is Simon thinking about dissecting his friends and family? I think he should see a therapist.
And that's clearly off the table. So Simon just contented himself with saying, "It's a rare thing only found in chipmunks," and went on with his day. Except back then, Simon couldn't just go on with his day. That scientific itch in the back of his brain always remained, and as much as he wished to scratch at it, he just let it be and let himself suffer. Once a scientist has a question, they will stop at nothing to answer it. It's in their nature. It's in his nature. As soon as those chipmunks and that squirrel came waltzing into Algebra 1, the itch in his brain exploded into an indescribable sensation. His nerves banged at his head, and his hand itched to scribble down chicken scratch in his math notebook about all the new theories that flooded into his head. And the itch wasn't satisfied until he nearly ripped his paper with how hard he wrote and erased it. Forget about the neatness and orderliness of his notebook. Science was calling his name.
Why is it? Again, I hate how much time and effort I put into this. I mean, hey, if you're gonna make something silly, you might as well put your all into it, for real.
Which is how he is where he is now. After previously dragging Alvin out of the classroom, giving a rushed goodbye to Brittany as she too rushed out of the classroom in search for her sisters, Simon is now giving Alvin a mind throw of every little theory in his head. I mean, he's a squirrel! A squirrel! Don't you understand the possibilities that have risen? For the past month, I've been killing myself with the same old answer, but it's even a squirrel now! I mean, I know it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. Alvin promptly puts a finger over his mouth and looks at him with a smirk, though Simon can clearly see the hidden excitement in his brother's eyes. Simon, shut up and stop geeking about it and let's go talk to him already, Alvin says.
I'm not mad at, I guess, their desires. I don't know about goals, but I'm not mad at their desires. I feel that's technically in character. Like, I do think the chipmunks and the chipettes would be interested in new chipmunk students and one that's a squirrel. Like, I think this is somewhat in character, like Alvin worrying about whether or not they like the things that he like, and Simon's like trying to figure out like, oh, it's a squirrel now that can talk and it's not just us.
Simon noted the fact that Alvin said him and not them. Throwing his skateboard on the ground and pulling Simon onto it, Simon lets out a high-pitched yelp as Alvin pushes off and sends them flying down the hallway. Simon blushes. For your information, I was not the only one geeking out. I saw how you reacted when they first walked in too. Simon's comment makes Alvin blush and trip up on his skateboard, influencing another yelp out of him. Since Alvin didn't respond with a childish remark, Simon assumes he was right. Simon pouts a little though, which is a bit out of character for him. Is drawing body models of your species and making physical notes about the appearance difference between the ones that talk and the ones that are wild, and coming up with theories about why they talk in the first place considered geeking out? Maybe. Does he care? A little. He's a nerd, not a geek. Geeks are pimple-faced simps who work at the dollar store. Please! What am I reading? Geeks are pimple-faced simps who work at the dollar store and soon turn to incels. Nerds are money-making businessmen who were looked down on in high school and then got a glow up and are one of the richest chipmunks in town. I mean people. Yeah, people. Simon takes his time on the death trap Alvin calls a skateboard to think about the new kids. The flying squirrel was definitely the most scientifically interesting out of them all. Being the only squirrel they know they can talk like they do, Simon has a lot of questions he wants to ask. But he doesn't have nearly as big of an interest as his brother does with the squirrel. He may not know much about emotions, but he can tell his simpleton of a brother might have some kind of admiration for the squirrel for whatever reason that may be.
And the whole trope, oh my gosh, this trope where you got a nerd and he's not interested in emotions, this trope.
The chipmunk in white didn't hold Simon's attention at all. She seems like a basic female.
Why is he talking like this? Why is Simon saying this? Simon would never say this. Like, what is he saying? Geeks are pimple-faced simps who work at the dollar store and soon turn into incels. Simon would never say this. I mean, sure, he might get mad at being called a geek, but he wouldn't say this. What is going on? This Simon feels like he listens to alpha male podcasts. That's what it feels like. This is not the Simon I know. Hashtag not my Simon. Like, what is this? She seems like a basic female? He would never say this.
A little bit of naivety like Theodore, but can sense some sass like Brittany, and that didn't detract him at all. She's cute. He can't deny it. That isn't enough to hold Simon's attention. What's wrong with Simon? Genuinely, what's wrong with Simon? Why does he sound like this? The smallest one, though, is cute in a way Simon can't describe. The one in white and the small one have two different types of cute. The one in white is cute in a childish, bratty way, which Simon found deathly annoying. But the smallest one is cute in a way a chihuahua was. Super small, but you can tell from the bored look on her face that she has no problem snapping and yapping at people. And for some reason, Simon's cold, science-only heart thinks that it's cute. He doesn't know why, though. After everything he and Jeanette been through, he thought that he loved her.
Again, you can see I'm not settled with the ships at all. If a character is focusing on one character specifically, they most likely are in love with that character. At least in the works that I've written.
Wait, where did love come from? As soon as that question enters his mind, he sees Alvin yell at Theodore to hop on the skateboard and briefly explain what's going on. As Theodore gasps with cute, childlike excitement and hops on the back of the skateboard, Simon's heart pounds with excitement. That itch he got when he couldn't answer his sign question is back again. He can't wait to meet that squirrel. And he can't wait to meet that chipmunk. Chapter 3. Theodore has just finished art class and is talking to a nice human girl named Olivia when all of a sudden his brother Alvin comes speeding towards him on his skateboard. And surprisingly, Simon is on it too. Hey Alvin, Olivia, an African-American girl, coos at him. What's up? Alvin says nonchalantly, and Olivia chuckles and bids farewell to Theodore, heading to their lunch. When Theodore was younger, he sometimes envied how smoothly Alvin could talk to girls, and how they actually took Alvin seriously. Theodore is the cutest chipmunk out of the group, and is often cooed at as well. While he doesn't mind the female attention, he can't help but feel a little insulted when they wanted to dress him up in a dress and bow tie like a toy. Being cute has its downfalls.
Theodore. There's not really much to say about Theodore. I mean, here's one thing to say, not specifically about Theodore, but how he's treated. Why are the girls in his school dressing him up in dresses and a bow tie? He's not a toy.
He always wished they took him seriously like his brothers, but after meeting Eleanor and a spark quickly forming between the two chipmunks, he doesn't care how his female classmates treat him anymore. As long as Eleanor continues to take him seriously, he doesn't care what anyone else thinks. Yo, get on, Theo. We don't have time to waste. Alvin all but shouts and his tail noticeably is wagging back and forth like a dog would. What's the matter? Theodore asks as he carries his pencil behind him, not noticing the weight that's second nature on his shoulder. There's more talking chipmunks going to school now. What? Theodore whispers. And when's a flying squirrel? Alvin chirps. Theodore not noticing the strange extra excitement Alvin has when mentioning a squirrel. Unlike his brothers, Theodore's mind doesn't automatically go to thinking about how to impress the new students or all the invasive scientific questions he can ask. His mind instantly goes to new friends. New friends. New friends.
Theodore is like the only sane person in this entire fanfiction so far.
Theodore gasps just as dramatically as Alvin did when he first met them, and instantly climbs on the skateboard, holding on to his pencil tight so as to not lose it. New friends, and they're chipmunks, and one's a flying squirrel. All the things they can talk about, the food to share and funny stories to tell, and the food to share and stories and food. Theodore quickly tries to come up with more conversation topics than just food and stories. Theodore giggles to himself as he imagines what the new students will look like. Just wait till Eleanor hears about this. It didn't take long for Alvin to pull up at Brittany's locker, Theodore notes, and he also sees that Brittany's sisters are there too, Jeanette and Eleanor. The mentioned chipmunk turns at the call of their name, and when Theodore sees the face they've come to love light up at seeing his face, his heart just melts. Hey, Theodore! Eleanor yells, waving at him. Theodore hops off the skateboard along with his brothers and rushes over to the chipettes. I'm assuming Brittany already told you, Simon says, and Theodore now notices Brittany's usually well-kept hair is now frizzy with sweat, possibly from running. Brittany stops her panting to nod at Simon, then continues to catch her breath. When Brittany told me about new chipmunks and a squirrel in the school, I knew exactly who she was talking about, because I walked past them in the hall on my way to the bathroom. At first I thought I was hallucinating, but after Brittany came running towards me after class talking about the same thing I saw, I knew it was true. Jeanette squeals while bouncing on her feet. Eleanor giggles, doing the same, probably imagine what they look like too. Brittany, now composed, rolls her eyes and stares at the floor, a slight blush dusts her cheeks. Theodore assumes she's thinking about the new kids, but what guy could have her attention? Theodore thought that Brittany had a crush on Alvin. So what are we just standing here for? Let's go find him. Them already, Alvin says impatiently, quickly correcting himself. Theodore is oblivious to the obvious mistake Alvin makes though. After Brittany ran to us about them, I asked Mr. Michaels where their lockers are, and their lockers are right next to us. Convenient. Eleanor cheers while pointing to the lockers next to them. Just as she said that, the group comes around the corner. Two chipmunks, one wearing very revealing clothing that made Theodore blush, and the other that is very short, but as tall as Eleanor. The one in the middle, a tall flying squirrel, all wearing matching collars that correspond with their outfit colors. Theodore's eyes widen, then squints as he tries to read the name tags on the collar. Oh wow, they're gorgeous, explained Eleanor and Jeanette. Theodore can't help but think in his mind, not as cute as you, but he has to admit that they were all very pretty. They wear what looks like stage clothes, but with how casually they treat the expensive-looking fabric, Theodore can tell that they probably wear even more expensive clothes for sleepwear.
There's lots of emphasis on the fact that the rodents are rich, and I don't know how to feel.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go say hi, Theodore exclaims, ready to make new friends. But as he looks around, he sees that they are all frozen in place, and they all have the same goofy look they had on when they saw each other for the first time. Theodore is almost certain he hears the song I Wanna Know What Love Is playing in the background, and he just can't understand why. They're all so impatient to meet them at first. What happened? Alvin looks like he's seen all things he loved clumped into one person. Simon looks like he discovered his scientific breakthrough. Brittany looks like she's staring at the biggest jewel in the world and she can't have it. Jeanette looks envious of each of them. And his sweet little Eleanor has the same cute little face she makes when she sees her favorite chocolate. With a snap of Theodore's fingers, they all snap out of their little moment, and Alvin is the first to speak. So what are you standing around for? Let's go talk to them. Small noises of agreement follow as they all slowly make their way towards the new students, and Theodore, still confused, follows just as excitedly. New friends, here we come. Chapter 4. Brittany has never felt more conflicted in her entire life, and Brittany is never conflicted. Most people would assume that she has a crush on Alvin for how much time she spends with him, but that would be wrong. Brittany does love Alvin, but not in the romantic kind of way. It was more of a conceited kind of way. in a I see myself in you way. Brittany and Alvin are similar in uncanny ways. They both love hogging the spotlight. They both will do anything to get what they want. They both will treat you like scum of the earth if you ever so much as look at their siblings the wrong way. Alvin would be a perfect boyfriend choice, but Brittany never felt that way about him. She never had that click her other sisters had when looking at boys. It's not that she's so self-absorbed she doesn't think any boy is worthy enough for her. She just didn't understand it. Boys. Why boys? There was always something Brittany just couldn't decipher on why she didn't like them so much.
Brittany gives the vibe of that one song, Little Miss Perfect, and I freaking love that song. And I'm honestly not mad at this.
Brittany always thought girls were pretty. I mean, have you seen them? Gorgeous. Brittany also knows she has a type of girl she loves the most. Mostly darker skin. Chest size doesn't matter, but she loves a nice size of hips. A cute face with pouty lips. My god, Brittany's drooling just thinking about it. Maybe she actually liked boys Oh my god! I'm writing this about chipmunks! This is chipmunks! Please, I can't breathe! Oh, please, these are about chipmunks! Nope, no. Stop, she's not. Oh my gosh, internalized homophobia? Brittany? Why is she acting like this? Is there if there's speciesism, there probably would be homophobia in this world, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? But when they walked in that door, when she walked in that door, it was like her brain went numb. She remembers seeing out of the corner of her eye her reflection on her phone, mouth wide open, slack-jawed, eyes wide and tail wagging. She looked stupid, like how the girls in love looked on TV. And when she came around the corner, a skip in her step, a wide smile on her face. Please, 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 I'm on my knees at this point, I'm begging. That revealing white shirt she had on looks like it slipped down a little. Please, I'm begging you. Brittany's head explodes. That same slack-jawed expression she had on in class came back, and she knew it did, because she saw a reflection in the locker next to her. There's no way, right? I don't like girls. I just haven't met the right one yet, that's all. I probably look like this because I'm jealous of how beautiful she is. Yeah, that's it. Brittany, WTF is going on? Brittany sees her face scrunched up in a scowl at that thought. She's the pretty girl. That newbie girl's spark will eventually wear off. Then she hears a snap and is immediately pulled out of her thoughts. She looks at the rest of the group to see if she embarrassed herself, to see if they all looked confused and dazed. Guess she wasn't the only one that was in a daze. So what are you standing around for? Let's go talk to them, Alvin says. Brittany and the rest hum in agreement as they make their way towards the new students. They catch their attention as the smaller one looks over at them and taps the squirrel on their shoulder, making both him and the chipmunk in white look at them. Ew, poor people.
This ew, poor people line, honestly, is still a joke with me and my friends till this day.
The chipmunk in white automatically says, and both the small chipmunk and the squirrel immediately burst into laughter, while the one in white looks embarrassed. Oh my god, her voice is so soft and cute. She's perfect. Wait, what did she say? Huh? We're not poor. Brittany hears Eleanor mumbles. Brittany could have sworn she heard the small ones say something like, yeah, well, to us you are. Oh my gosh, why are they so mean? Why are they so mean? What's going on? Just then, the squirrel smacks the one in white behind the head, while she whines and looks on the verge of tears. Brittany feels a slight hint of anger at seeing him make her cry, but after a poor comment, she shoves the anger down. I'm sorry about her, she's a little slow. Hello?
I don't understand. For most of the stuff I'm reading, I understand what I thought at the time and what I was going for at the time, but I don't really get why I made them mean. I guess I did it for them to like have some kind of conflict before they became friends, because I guess it would bring them closer together or something. I don't remember.
Brittany shoves the anger down once again. It's nice to meet you guys. You're the Chipettes and Alvin the Chipmunks, right? Brittany hears Alvin's breath hitch, and then hears him let out a long breathy sigh, in which sounds like him stumble a bit. But she's not sure, since she never takes her eyes off the chipmunk in white. She doesn't understand why, since all he did was say his name. Oh my gosh, so you must be Brittany, right? Squeals the chipmunk in white. And there goes Brittany's oxygen. She's sure she saw Jesus for a second.
I thought I was so funny. I'm genuinely confused on why they're liking them so fast. Romantically, I mean. Talking about Brittany, Simon, and Alvin. Why? Slow burn? We don't know her.
You know who we are? Jeanette and Simon speak at the same time. Duh, you're famous, remember? Says the chipmunk who looked mad and annoyed for some reason. I didn't recognize him because they were such cheap outfits. The one in white whispers to herself. WTF. The entire letters. What is going on? WTF, LMAO, LOL. What is happening? Why are they so mean? Alvin, fed up and annoyed, huffs out. I'm sorry, are we annoying you? Because we can come back another time. The three creatures look a little shocked and look at each other. Shocked? Shocked? You're shocked? Bestie! What do you mean you're shocked? No. The squirrel lets out an awkward laugh while the one in white plays with their fingers. The squirrel lets out a loud cough. Well, it's nice to meet you guys. Glad we aren't the only animals going to the school. We're a big fan of you guys. Alvin's attitude lets up a little as the squirrel's voice. Oh, really? The one in white's spirits lift up, and she adds in, yeah, you guys are so cool. I sing your songs around the house all the time. Brittany finally adds in, glad to hear that. But of course, in my personal opinion, the chipettes are the best. Brittany's voice quivers with every word, trying her best to sound chill and confident. Her and the chipmunk in white lock eyes as she gives her a cute smile. Oh, I totally agree. I don't mean to hate on the rest of you voices, but Brittany, you're my favorite. Brittany loses her balance after that and slams against the locker next to her, but she tries to play it off. You good? The chipmunk in white asks, sounding a little weirded out. Yeah, I meant to do that. Great job, Brittany. You made an idiot of yourself. Weirdo. The small chipmunk doesn't bother to whisper. Alvin's attitude returns after that comment, and Brittany gains one. You said you sing our songs, right? Why not show us your skills? Theater chimes in, trying to clear the air. The small one groans, and the one in white and the squirrel squeals. I'm not singing. I am not singing, especially not singing on an Alvin and the Chipmunk fanfiction. The one in white begins to sing, sounding like an angelic angel. The squirrel begins to sing, and in Brittany's opinion, too many riffs. The small one whispers sings with a blush on her face, and from what Brittany can hear, she sounded really good. They all finished together, sounding very beautiful, but in Brittany's opinion, the one in white sounded like the best.
I do love that song. I still listen to the song to this day. Specifically the Chipmunks version, though.
Brittany looks sober and sees that everyone's mood has lifted, and Alvin's attitude almost disappeared. Almost. You guys were incredible! Shouts Simon after he finished clapping. Forgive our rudeness, but we never even asked you your names. Who did you say you are? A devilish smirk, a mischievous giggle, and an annoyed nonchalant look crossed their faces. I'm Faith, cheers the one in white. I'm 𝑤𝑎𝑡, sings the squirrel. I'm Lillian, mumbles the small chipmunk. And we're, says 𝑤𝑎𝑡, the rodents. I'm literally gonna break down crying. Sobbing, pissing on the floor, vomit, rolling around, and poop.
This is a walking nightmare. Let's summarize what we've read so far. 1, Simon is giving the biggest alpha male podcast ever. If you know that meme where it's like Simon showing Alvin something on the computer and he says something homophobic and then Alvin's like, Simon, WTF, I'm literally bisexual. This is what that Simon is giving. This is what this Simon is giving. What? Simon would never say this. He's the sweetest, kindest, not kindest, but he's the sweetest, level-headed, most chipmunk like ever. He would not call someone a basic female, and he likes Brittany. Not like, obviously not romantically, but he likes Brittany. He's friends. He talks to them. He's the one who convinces Dave to let loose and loosen the leash on Alvin so they can come to a compromise. He wouldn't call someone a basic female. He wouldn't call his brother a simpleton. Maybe in a joking way, but this feels like genuine. Simon wouldn't act like this. Theodore. He's lacking basic respect. The girls in his school think he's cute, and they treat him like a toy and dress him up in dresses and a bow tie. He's lacking basic respect. Alvin, he has to deal with his racist teachers, or specious. He has to deal with his specious teachers. Brittany, Her issue is that she's battling with internalized homophobia. That's her issue. Well, this was torture, and I don't really know how to end this. I hope you guys had some laughs and cringed just as much as I did. And remember, it's just fan fiction. Stay bimboy, my boys, but most importantly, stay small.